Ofori-Atta self-challenge. The OSP can't see he has went against all legal and he is recuperating, something that is known to each and every other Ghanaian in this republic. It is no news. So Ofori-Atta is well. The OSP went against all legally permissible means to have him interrogated or interviewed. And he was insisting that he wanted an in-person interview with Ofori-Atta, and that he will use all the legal force of the state to have him extradited to Ghana. And that is what we have all been waiting for.
What his lawyers are trying to do is basically to get him out of detention. He's detained. I'm sure he's very uncomfortable in his current situation, and they just want to get him out. They want him to be able to, return home for the rest of this process instead of essentially being, in detention.
Justice Department is working on the extradition request. Now, you have to understand that what is happening now is in relation to immigration immigration law violations. All right, that is separate and distinct from the extradition request. And so, if it was put in before the the immigration judge that there's an extradition request, he wants a formal, filing before him. So the Justice Department would have to do that before a decision is taken.
One person that you've been looking for over the period has to do with the former finance minister. Yesterday he was in U.S. court. I'm sure you monitored that. What's your own thought on that?
Well, the American authorities are handling the process. And they are handling it in accordance with American law. So far, I don't find anything wrong with what has, taken place. As you rightly pointed out, I monitored the hearing yesterday, and I have had reports from the United States regarding what has happened and what may happen. But these are confidential discussions, and I'm not supposed to talk to the media about what they have briefed me on.
Yesterday, the trial judge said something. He said there's no proof of any extradition request and that it should be filed by the federal government before February 19. What is your own thoughts on that?
No, the Justice Department is working on the extradition request. Now, you have to understand that what is happening now is in relation to immigration immigration law violations. All right, that is separate and distinct from the extradition request. And so, if it was put in before the the immigration judge that there's an extradition request, he wants a formal, filing before him. So the Justice Department would have to do that before a decision is taken.
When will that happen, based on your contact?
No, I don't control what happens with the Justice Department in the U.S. So,
but are you hopeful that this will go through for Ken to come back to Ghana?
I am very hopeful, extremely hopeful. Thank you.
Right, so the very first voice you heard was that of Frank Davis, who has been speaking for Ken Ofori-Atta as one of his lawyers in the country. And at that time, he was talking about the fact that, Ofori-Atta wanted to return. He was just going to treat himself. He'll be back. In fact, we heard his wife make a promise to Evans Mensah that he will get well and he'll be back. Let's just listen to this.
Talked about his work. This is not a Ken who runs away from accountability. Nico! I ask the public to remember when they've heard him speak, he has not shied away from facing up to issues. It's amazing that we've had to deal with cancer in the last year. This is the process by which we have hopefully ensured that it doesn't spread.
Right, so there were a series of interviews where promises were made that Ken Ofori-Atta was just going to take care of himself. He wasn't well, and that once he recuperated, he was returning to Ghana and that he was not running away. But what we got to know, as far as the OSP's processes are concerned, suggests that when the OSP gave the impression that Ofori-Atta was not sincere about what he was going to do and that he had intention to return, that he had no intention to return was the situation. Because the information they supply and the manner in which they project the things to us suggested that by the time the OSP began its chase of Ofori-Atta, he had already started to change his status in America. By the time the OSP, put him on the wanted list, on Interpol Red Notice, and Interpol Red Notice, he had already put in a request to be in America for good and not to return to Ghana. So those who suggest that the OSP was rushing were wrong. Let's begin with Professor Jampo. I began with an introduction, and it is true. When we sat in this studio, when a good number of you were here, I asked a number of you a question, whether you believed that Ofori-Atta would have been in detention for 1 day in Ghana if he submitted himself to law enforcement. And nobody believed that he would have spent even 2 hours or an hour in detention. This is where he is now. He's getting to 2 weeks, and he's likely, or it is potentially, he's potentially looking to up to April, where he's going to be in detention.
I'm saddened by that. I think 2 weeks ago I was here, we made the same point. We are, regardless of our differences in Ghana, okay, one thing that has kept us together is that behind the scenes, we have some complex relationships, with ourselves. Everybody knows somebody. And it was BJ Darocha who told me that sometimes your best friend is in the other political party. The worst enemy is in your own political party. Okay, so in my view, given how we have conducted ourselves and how we have held ourselves as a people, regardless of the arguments that are being made that he should be brought to book, and all that, regardless of the expectations of the people, I do not think that he would be subjected to the kind of treatment that at the moment he's being subjected through. Untumi was invited. How many days did he spend? Okay, so my view is that given what he has done for Ghana, I don't think that the law enforcement authorities would have been inhuman towards him. He has a right. You may face your charges. You would have the right to respond. And then if you are given a bail, recently there is a certain elite consensus among all of us that bail conditions cannot be arbitrary. If you give it and it is too much, we can all jump in to say that it be reduced, it be varied, and all that. But I think what is happening or what has caused the problem is some form of sycophantic public support for what is wrong, and in my view, a certain also incompetence in legal advice that have coalesced to push the man to where he is.
The bail thing we are talking about here, it is bail he is seeking, and he didn't get it after over a week in detention, and now he's back.
Yes,
it is bail he's seeking. That's all.
It is so worrying. Yeah. And so my view is that now who caused them? Who has caused all these things? So we will plead. Now I am hearing some of the lawyers saying that the man would come. Maybe now they are thinking about the right approach or what. You see, and let me say this. Those who are seeking to be given high offices of political power, those who are seeking to be given the fiduciary trust of the people, they should take note of this. You don't look good in the eyes of discerning people if you support a certain conduct that accept the belief or the practice that anybody who is given the mandate to govern or anybody who is appointed a minister can do anything and decide to stay away. If he chooses not to come, so be it. We shouldn't talk about it. I hear a lot of people saying, but if he's not coming, leave him. You can try him there. It is not good in terms of the optics. I'm a student of political accountability, and there are so many mechanisms for demanding accountability and for ensuring accountability. Asking him to come and face the law is one. And so if I see those people who are seeking to be elected to power, those people who are seeking to be given the public fiduciary trust, arguing or insinuating that if he's not coming, leave him, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't make you look good. And it is a slap in the face of our quest to project accountability as one cardinal principle of democratic rule. Do you feel bad that your finance minister, former finance minister, is being held in a detention in the US? And now by 19 February, when they are going to hear again, we are not even too sure if he will get the bail. I felt so sad, I was almost teary. When I saw him walk to his chair, took off his cardigan, I think he couldn't even hang it well. He just put it, and then he sat down quietly listening to what was going on. And later, when I think you guys were running a program commentary on it, and when there was a question as to whether he's going to be left out of the hook, at least to go in to his own residence, so that processes will go on. And we're told that no, he's going to remain in detention for up to April. And like you rightly said, in Ghana here, who will do that to you? Regardless of the expectation, let me tell you, people are having higher expectations. One of the reasons why President Mahama had this kind of votes in the election was the belief that the system has been so corrupted and the system is so rotten, and that there is the need for the country to be reset. Okay, and one area for the reset was to deal with those who have misconducted themselves, those who have looted our monies, and that's how we had oral and all that. And so the expectations are high that something must be done. Otherwise, the future of the Fourth Republican democratic practice cannot be guaranteed. If you don't do something for all to see, we cannot guarantee. Why was it that at one point in time, we were threatened with military coups? Everybody was sitting on a tent. The way things were going, people felt that the soldiers could intervene. Now there is calm, but people are watching, and they are expecting that something would happen, and with the view to bring in those who may have done some of these things in looting our resources or in taking decisions that may have imposed a certain hardship on the people, would face a certain process that would ensure that there is justice. But I'm saying regardless of the expectations that people have, I don't think that Ghanaians would support that we quote-unquote incarcerate our former finance minister behind bars for 3 months.
Now he's losing some sympathy that he had initially, where we're all saying, oh, a man who is unwell, why are you chasing him, and so on. Now people are doing demonstrations, and the lawyers in America are even telling us that the demonstrations can actually be counterproductive, because he could use the argument that this is a political persecution. That's why in the country people are demonstrating.
Well, if truly people close to him are telling us that he wants to come, and so if he wants to come, then I do not expect him to use that as an excuse that, look, I may face political persecution. He is well aware of that kind of culture in Ghana that keeps us together even when we disagree. Okay, that kind of culture we have in Ghana that says that regardless of our political differences, you have one house where a man is MPP, a woman is NDC, and we peacefully coexist. Okay, so I'm thinking that his interests will be better protected if he comes to his country.
So we're told that Sedina Tamakloe the fugitive who has already been sentenced to 10 years and she's not available, were told by the embassy in the US that her hearing for the extradition was supposed to be on 21st. And now they've been sort of blocked out. So there's no information, and so we have heard nothing. How do you feel about that?
Well, I feel that, look, they should all come and face the law. If you run afoul of the law must take its course. Justice must be served. And I don't see why suddenly we are allowing other people. I mean, even in those countries, even when you haven't done anything wrong, look at the way they treat you. Even when you have not done anything wrong. I had several opportunities when I was done with my PhD to teach in some of these countries. But I said I would not be in somebody's country where I'll be treated as a second-class citizen. I would come and serve my country. And so my point is that even when you have not done anything wrong, see how they treat you. So why will you want to be in somebody's country to be maltreated? And for me, it's an embarrassment to Ghana for our former finance minister to be subjected to that kind of inhuman treatment.
Hassan, again, the OSP started this process, and now, where are we now? We were all saying we don't believe in the OSP. When the OSP, they were saying that they don't trust him when he says that he was going to treat himself and will be back. When they said they don't trust him, now he's proved them right, and now there are calls on you to bring him back. Otherwise, your political fortunes are affected heavily.
But you see, something, this matter, sometime in June last year, that's when Honorable Ofori-Atta went for his surgery at the Mayo Clinic. And the records were there. Any person could have verified the veracity or otherwise of that. After undergoing the surgery, I'm sure most of the time you find that people have some recuperating period and so on and so forth. Yeah, it may have gone past that period. It's been 6 months now, I believe. It may have gone past that period. But you see, they say that the first law of nature is what? Self-preservation. I am just conjecture, all right? And allow me to do some conjecture. If I see the way and manner that people like Wuntumi and then Osei and all of that have been arrested, and then bail conditions, onerous bail conditions are put on them, and so on and so forth. And sometimes, I don't know whether the NSS chief executive has even been left to go. The one who had the 800 million bail.
They are all on bail now.
They are all on bail. No, he was granted the bail, but he couldn't even meet the bail conditions.
Yes, I think it got reduced. Twice or so.
800 million and all of that.
Twice or so.
Is he still not in custody?
I think now.
He's still in custody. He's still in custody.
Really?
Let's check. He couldn't meet the bail conditions.
Because he's not meeting bail conditions. It's not that he has been denied bail.
You understand? That's what I was talking about. The onerous bail conditions. You understand? So all of these things, they don't, go to motivate somebody like that to come. And I'm just speaking, from my perspective. But what is important is that there's too much politicization of, a simple criminal matter. Now, if you look at the case of Sedina Tamakloe, when she absconded, Attorney General didn't make any fuss. There was no press conference. There was nothing. And until recently, I didn't even know that there was an extradition request that was put in by the Attorney General.
You are not following the news.
No, at the time, it even just became public.
No, it had been public. I had interviewed Alfred Chweyebua like twice.
So what I'm saying is that until now, many people did not know that there was even an extradition request. You see, what is important is that we can pursue this case even without the physical presence of, Honorable Ofori-Atta. So sometimes you wonder what's going on. It's just sometimes much ado about nothing.
Really?
It's not easy to extradite people like that. You remember when...
Is it not easy for you to tell him to come?
Of course, if I have deep apprehension that you are going to trample on my rights, I have every right to decide whether, I can take this risk or not.
Those have been arrested. Their rights been trampled.
Oh, but Professor, you are distracting me. You're distracting me. There is this minister for petroleum in Nigeria who left office with President Goodluck Jonathan. Alison Desani Alison Madueke. Yes. She's been in the US and UK courts off and on, and there's been an extradition request since 2015. They have been able to go make searches, charge her for all manner of offenses, bribery, corruption, seize properties, and so on and so forth. But the extradition, to date, EFCC has not been able to get the extradition for her to be brought into the country. So you proceed with the trial.
How do you proceed with a trial? He's been charged.
Yes.
There is a summons.
Yes.
The summons will be served on him. If it is served on him and then he refuses to honor the summons, there will be an arrest warrant, a bench warrant on him.
Yes.
Then he'll be looked for and arrested. If he's not found, then you say the process can go on. But you can't say that the prosecutor starting the process should say, oh, he's unavailable, so let's go.
But see,
it's not done.
The reality is that he's unavailable.
No,
and there are remedies under the law.
He's available, refusing to make himself present.
Technically, he's not available. But if he was available,
he's available to the US government, but not available.
You don't necessarily have to have the person physically present. And there are remedies under the law for you to proceed.
You are worried
without necessarily, going through all these
questions have been asked. What kind of a republic do you want?
No,
that people can do anything they want and jump on the next flight and say whatever you want, do at my back.
And people like you saying that it doesn't. No, but people have issues with somebody who is yet to be tried. Hold, please. You have issues with somebody who is yet to be tried, but you don't have issues with somebody who was on trial and has actually been convicted, and she's run away out of the country.
Who don't have?
You're not spending time on the.
Why are they not?
You're not spending time on the lady.
It's high profile.
You are not spending time on the.
No, exactly what do you mean? Because wait. Let's avoid that.
Not spending
let's avoid that obfuscation and misleading of the public.
It looks like there's too much attention.
The Attorney General of the Republic of Ghana began an extradition process.
Yes.
Godfred Dame began an extradition process.
Yes.
For Sedina Tamakloe. What else has to be done?
No, I'm saying
what else has to be done?
So we have people demonstrating. We have the people demonstrating at the US embassy. That one is low-hanging fruit.
Okay.
Why are they not demonstrating about that one too? So all of these things, I'm building a point. You have turned what would have been pure criminal case into a political persecution.
Who has?
Hold. There are people, NDC apparatchiks, who are out there, and people who are Ken, who are pro-NDC, who are out there demonstrating. You are building a certain point for the US embassy people, or even the American government, to believe that, look, this is not just any simple criminal case. It looks like there are political undercurrents. You understand? So if Ken now is building his case on the point that, look, all of this thing is about political persecution. Look, you will make him build a very strong case for himself. Is that something that
is believable from what you said?
You will make him build a very strong case for himself.
You, as a lawyer and former minister and in parliament, is that proposition something you believe?
No, it's a proposition that is available for anybody to believe.
No,
and
it's
he
you
can make
I'm asking.
That case.
It's you I'm asking.
No, I'm saying that, look, you are doing a case, and every part of the case is in the public domain. And then you are making it look like, without Ken, look, all these oral cases, the 200 million or 20 billion or so amount that is supposed to be gotten cannot be got.
If he had made himself available, will there be all of this drama?
For instance, that is out there for the jury to decide. But for instance, what is the real case for Ken to answer?
You haven't seen the SML case?
That's the SML case.
That one we are told is even a tip of the iceberg.
And so why are the other cases? So currently, before the judge, the immigration judge, the Department of Homeland Security goes there to talk about the bill, application. And now they themselves introduce an issue regarding the fact that Ken is being pursued under an extradition request before the judge. So the judge was hearing for the first time. So look, but I don't have any formal documents before me. All right? And they presented only BBC reports and then some newspaper, cuttings as proof. Now you have to come. So in this country, apart from that particular SML case, is there any other substantive case?
The Attorney General says yes.
But there's no case. Has there any case been filed?
Says he's been under investigation.
So investigation is not, charge sheets. You need charge sheet. Charge sheet is the foundation of all of this.
How do you arrive at a charge sheet?
Something.
Investigations lead to a charge sheet.
So, and they haven't been able to finish the investigations. And you want the man in. Look, prove to Ghanaians. You are talking about, for instance, National Cathedral. National Cathedral, what is the wrongdoing? Forensic reports have been conducted. And even the Attorney General has made comments about that. Where is the wrongdoing? Where is the smoking gun? I'm speaking now, I'm even confused because I want to know exactly what case beyond the SML case that Ken is supposed to answer. And we're so fixated about him coming to Ghana, being extradited and so on and so forth. Look, you can proceed, you can tick all the boxes, and you can secure conviction without necessarily having the man, in this country.
That should become the norm.
And I think
that should become the norm.
That cannot be the norm because, in fact, it is.
You hit a person on the road. You kill them.
In fact,
you kill them. The police person says, "Oh, I've taken his number. Go rest." You go to court. Is that how it should be done?
In fact, it is one of two exceptions since this Fourth Republic started. Sedina Tamakloe. It is Ofori-Atta that we are seeing are being requested to come and account for their political, stewardship. And then we are having these challenges about extraditing them before we were able to do this case. But I'm saying that, look, we have politicized the case so much so that we have even fortified this case in the US. And I would not be surprised that this case, becomes a foolish case, especially regarding the extradition.
A foolish case.
You have made the case so political that even the US government will be thinking twice before they can,
Dr. Bonfe,
allow it.
What are you seeing? What has been your reading? And I haven't heard you comment about this, or I haven't followed you for a long time as far as this issue has been on the front burner.
It's tiring following theater in Ghana. We're becoming a nation of theater. First of all, His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama did not make any significant difference in his votes between 2020 and 2024. For the records, he had an increase of about 60,000.
Oh, you're going back to the old
No, I'm just making
discussion.
a point. I'm just making a point.
Okay.
It's important that we establish certain truths. President Mahama was not significantly gathering additional votes in 2024 from what he had in 2020. That record must be clear. Two. Yeah, exactly. And if, well, I beg you. I'm just making that point. Something you see, you know better than I do that successful prosecution goes through a process. And parties succeed or fail in securing prosecution or verdicts based on their conduct in the rules of engagement in that process and fidelity to the law, to the extent that when they are dissatisfied with the outcome, they have rights of appeal to certain levels. Why are we sitting here talking that you have misappropriated public funds, come and account for it, and you are running away from it? And that means you are running from accountability. Is that the case?
Then what should the people think?
As I sit here, it's not about what the people should think. It's about what narrative we put out there. Especially those of us who are privileged and opportuned to speak on national matters, no matter what we feel. If I were Ken Ofori-Atta, and I'm happy I'm not him, I won't get myself into this. And if Ken Ofori-Atta was thinking the way I am thinking, this matter would not have reached where it has reached. What is annoying and disgusting, we sat in this country when a president-elect without constitutional authority set up a so-called ORA. And so fixated with accountability, we did not question it. What power did President-elect Mahama have to appoint ORA? Did he? Tell me, within the Constitution. None. But he did it. It's a campaign promise. because they campaigned on that. That oral has virtually been subsumed into some legality because the Attorney General says it's working.
Oral doesn't exist.
I'm saying
the
what they did.
The does not exist.
Hold on. Come on. That's a fluke. You are rather empowering my point. That today, that so-called oral has died out.
Really?
But where is it? But you are saying it. The committee doesn't exist.
Committee.
Yes, but what about their report? It's been subsumed by the Attorney General to work with.
To investigate.
To what end? So what was the politics about it all about? Something. To get successful prosecution requires due diligence, patience, soberness or sobriety, and careful tact, diligence. It's not the political noise.
Where is that missing?
It's missing in this.
How?
Now tell me, this hula baloo about Ken must come. If he doesn't come, as if we are disabled by law to get to justice, the overall questions of accountability. My understanding was that he's even represented by lawyers in this matter. And that with the question I'm asking is, have they responded to the charges that have been leveled against him? Those are the issues that should be of concern to us. And what are their responses? We are not concerned about those things.
There's no requirement in law, in criminal law, that when a charge sheet is put in the court,
yes,
a lawyer should file a response.
You can even decide that at the end of their prosecuting, you say that there's no case for you to answer, and the judge, you know that. So why? Why is it that we are making it as if that person is exercising his rights under our very constitution, as you have very much said, then it means he's running away from accountability.
The correction I was seeking to make is that if today the court called a number of people charged with a particular offense, a lawyer cannot walk to the courtroom and say, I represent Samson Badi.
Yes.
When Samson is not in the courtroom. When Samson is not in the courtroom. When
Samson has not appointed you to represent him.
No, in criminal law, the person appears.
Yes.
And then you, the lawyer, appear
to represent the person.
To say, my name is Samson, I'm representing Kwabena Bonfe. And Kwabena must be there.
Present.
Without that, it doesn't work.
Samson, I'm saying that, but our laws anticipated, or the framers of our constitution anticipated that there will be somebody who, facing criminal charges or trial, may abscond or run away and remedy that by possible trial in absentia. The law has also made provision for that. And I'm saying that overall, we want Ken to come. All these conversations, and I think my senior Tampuli was making that point, all these conversations are building up data that may be serving the interests of Ken Ofori-Atta, whom as I am interested, if we are all interested in he coming down to account for it, the noise should reduce. And let's focus on the substance, not the form. The substance is that we have uncovered, or Attorney General is making us believe, that the man in serving as finance minister erred or went against the laws of our land. So there's a case against him. Even if Ken appeared before the investigative body, he reserves the right not to cooperate. He can come and refuse to talk because he will not help you to build your case against him. We know all these things. And yet we are making it look like the success of the case or the trial against him depends on his presence here. I refuse to accept that theory. And I'm saying that accountability is not only about somebody's term coming to an end and we finding out ABCD. I have issues with even the OSP's office.
But do you know that? Do you know that this refrain?
Yes.
Sometimes I think, and even some lawyers who are politically aligned have miseducated the public. So when you go before an investigative body, the law says you're entitled not to speak.
Yes.
You can say you don't want to talk.
Yes.
But you are not entitled not to write where you are required to write that you don't want to speak.
Yes.
And that writing representation itself is essential to the criminal process. So the fact that you go there, you don't talk, doesn't mean that you will not have to write. There's a caution statement. Yes, and the caution statement says, the caution statement actually tells you that you are entitled not to say anything.
I'm saying that the framers of our constitution anticipated all these possibilities being swerved by a cunning offender of the law.
Yes, but there's a process.
I'm coming. I'm saying that.
You don't start a case with I try in absentia. You start a case with several processes, and then when they fail, then you may trigger that one.
Samson, under this country's jurisprudence and what constitutional and legal history, criminal trial that we have, the 3 boys who were suspected of murdering the High Court judges in 1982, how were they tried and convicted to death? Who are supposed to be brought to face justice, the death penalty, and yet they are at large all these years. How were they tried? Wasn't it in absentia? My point is that what we are saying, whether Ken comes or doesn't come, the overall object of what we are seeking to do is accountability for his office. That office he held in and on behalf of the president who appointed him, who had our mandate as a people, true or false. The president himself is not immune from prosecution or questioning under this constitution within 3 years of expiration of his term, true or false. So when we make it look as if without Ken Ofori-Atta's presence, we cannot get accountability for his office or his tenure, I reject that proposition. I may be wrong, but I'm saying that I reject that proposition. And I have spoken to well-seasoned and reasoned persons knowledgeable in the practice and the theories of the law who advise me that I have a point in that
the issue is that people have just been running ahead of themselves when they don't know the law. Or people who are politically minded, partisan, decide to put the law aside. If you read the Constitution, it's clean. You see, if you don't take the processes that you are required to take, and you even go and get a conviction against him, it can be set aside. Good. Because you didn't follow the processes. So what is wrong that you are criticizing? That they are following the processes, so that in the end, if they can't get him through those processes, then the trial can go on because they have fulfilled all other righteousness.
So Ken, Samson.
He's not Ken.
Here is my plea.
Is in America.
Here is my plea to you. I'm saying that, bottom line, what should be tying us together is the fact that we want justice and we want accountability. The person from whom we want this is making it difficult for us to arrive at a fair conclusion based on our suspicion.
We must exhaust the process before.
I'm saying that you can exhaust that process, but exhausting that process will not lie with you and I discussing it here.
Yes, but your suggestion as has been made by others. It's as if truncate the process and begin a trial in absentia.
I use my words advisedly, and I've chosen my words. I have never suggested to you I want some process to be truncated. Have I?
No, but as long as you and Hassan are saying that you don't need him to prosecute, and so you should go on, you can't go on.
Did I suggest that truncate a certain process of? I predicated or premise my argument on the fact that we all know that successful prosecution goes through a certain process, and that the conduct of the party seeking victory or success is dependent on how faithful they are to the requirements. Didn't I premise my argument with that?
You're right.
Good. So my point is simple. There is too much theater and politicking with things that require thorough law processes. And the earlier we got out of that, the better. Last point. It must be understood. And I think you made that point to Samson, that if Ken was in Ghana, he could not have been detained as he's been detained in America. That's not true. People have been detained in this country. And those are the things that have led to people marching out on the streets under different regimes. As we speak now, there are people who are held in custody. When judges have even said that tone down the bail conditions, we have toned it down. Executing it becomes a problem. We know these things.
From where I sit, Kabila, that's my viewpoint. From where I sit, I'm saying that if Ken Ofori-Atta submits himself to law enforcement in Ghana, I don't see him spending a day and night.
I don't believe so.
Those who agree with me, fine. Those who don't, fine.
So you can say you don't believe, but don't say it's not true.
Yes, you
are categorical and emphatic about some of these.
Right.
You can say
please,
please.
Let me conclude, please. I'm not answering to you.
Right. I'm going to Paul now.
So my point is that at the end of the day, let's do the right things and all these hula balloos.
But the right things are what are being done. Yes, Paul.
A small point.
Please, Prof. Yes, go ahead.
Point. I just want to make a brief remark about Kwabena's insistence that the president needed a certain constitutional provision.
You don't need to. I've written it.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
I didn't say the president. I didn't say the president. Please. If you want to refer to me, quote me what I said. President-elect with no power.
The president-elect.
Okay.
Yes, he has no power under our constitution.
See,
thank you. So
what are you talking about?
We should move on. Because that issue has been responded to so many times, even before the oral committee was collapsed.
There's another one. I also want to make the point again, because I know my brother Paul go on that tangent, but
how do you second guessing
my friend?
No, we're some painting. We used to be the same party on campus, but now we have.
The dogmas of accountability, in my view, is not better served when there is a certain posturing that publicly is espoused to support the view that Ken's unwillingness to show up in Ghana, even in the face of lawful body demanding that he comes, even in the face of the generality of the citizenry saying that he should come. If you say that he shouldn't come, and if he doesn't come, it doesn't spoil anything. He can be trialed there.
Nobody said.
No, please.
Oh, but no, it's not. You said you were referring to me.
And be tried in his absence.
You can be tried in his absence. You refer to me.
Please.
All right.
The law has made sense.
I'm taking enough of my time.
Pablo, I'm your teacher.
Thank you.
I am your teacher.
Before I became my teacher. I'm your teacher. Before I became my teacher. We had a relationship before you became my teacher.
Yes, let's hear Paul.
Yeah. I think that all of us, journalists, civil society actors, and practicing lawyers must look at this Ken Ofori-Atta matter from a perspective that takes away the fact that he is in my party or that he's not in my party. As Professor Jampo is saying, those in Ofori-Atta's party are saying something, those outside Ofori-Atta's party are saying something. Now, I'm sad because, and I always like to go back to history, in 1979, Guzi Augustus Tano was one of those young students who championed the revolution. He was one of those who called for the blood to flow at Teshi for military generals who are taking loans of $3,000, etc., etc. 20 years later, 2000, Joseph Anthony Adu, stalwart of the NDC, at the National Theatre, proclaimed that Augustus Guzi Tano had taken money from governments to do a cassava factory that he has blown and that he ought to have been in jail instead of leading a reform party 20 years down the line. So these things are very important. I sat in a trotro in 1993 on the day that Kwesi Botwe had given a budget, 1993. And Kwesi Botwe's budget had increased everything by 60% across board. I was staying in Labadi in those days, so we spoke a lot of Ga. When I sat in the trotro, the mate asked me in Ga, "You are the educated people. If I get Kwesi Botwe, I'll kill him." And I said, "Hey, you kill him?" He said, "Yes. And I said, "Wow." And that was a sentiment in the Trotro as we rode to a place in Labadi, very obscure, called Abo Mikojo Sadi. So I was listening. I just...
You've always been a rich child. You've always been rich. So
if you go there, I live there.
Where lies this Trotro?
But you don't know. I lived in Kojo Sadi Abo. Everybody who knows me knows that. Yes. So let's move on. Now, finance ministers have always taken this situation. Dr. Kwesi Boche was the most hated person in Ghana. In fact, after he left the NDC government, and Jerry Rawlings and the people somehow had to have Kwesi Boche exiting because of the image of a finance minister who was just delivering very difficult times to Ghanaians. When the MPP came to power in 2017, and maybe Hassan knows, there were many MPP people who wanted the blood of Setekwe because he was the bad one. And it was Ken Ofori-Atta who said that he has inherited Setekwe. Yes, the situation was bad, but he really doesn't see how what Setekwe has done that we're going to prosecute him. Many were those who were angry with Ofori-Atta, that he's gone there, he's following what Setekwe is doing, and they are doing business together. All of that was said. In 2017 and 2018...
Within your party?
Yes, within the party.
Within your party?
Yes, within the MPP.
Because I know, as a matter of fact, that Setekwe appeared before Iyoko.
Yes, he appeared
several times.
Yes, even when the prosecution.
No.
The prosecution.
It's a different thing. Talk like a lawyer. It's a different thing. Appearing before Iyoko doesn't translate into prosecution.
Yes, fair enough.
No. Please.
I'm saying that prosecution
you can have your opinions.
I don't understand.
But you can't understand.
Exactly.
Because you are saying that Amstead was to be prosecuted. It's not true. He appeared. He was investigated. And he was cleared.
He's saying that
don't say
that. That you can, and we lawyers know.
No.
You can lead your client to law enforcement. They will investigate today, tomorrow, the next can take a long time. But in the end, they will show. They will say that we're sorry, leave.
Okay, so
there's nothing to
show that he was prosecuted. There's nothing.
Yeah. But I'm saying that people went to
don't give that narrative
that you have inherited him.
It's wrong.
Where are the files? Where is that Mary?
It's wrong.
Oh, that's
how can you say
you can have your time when I
No.
I'm disposing of
your narrative
that are known to me.
Towards creating in the minds of people that Seth was to be prosecuted.
No,
but Ken Ofori-Atta interviewed for him.
No,
it's wrong.
Opportunity to speak.
Okay, you get.
No, it's wrong.
No, it's not wrong. But I'm disposing of matters that are within my knowledge. So let me move on. Ken Ofori-Atta was said by the World Bank to be the Africa's finance minister of the year, 2017 and 2018. This same Ken Ofori-Atta. So we have come into, and that's why I bring civil society and the practicing lawyers in. We have come to receive a new epoch and dimension of criminal justice in Ghana since January 2025. Maybe it's right, maybe it's wrong, I don't know. But the new epoch that we have received is that the head of the criminal justice system, the learned attorney general, appointed under Article 88, has taken a different turn from all attorney generals of the Fourth Republic. He has come forward to talk about prosecution. Some say it's good, some say it's bad, the jury's out there. Now, in the things that the Honorable Dominic Ayini has been talking about, we've heard him speak about Kwabena Duboahim. We've heard him speak about Chairman Wuntumi. Dominic Ayini, in the beginnings of his press conference, never said anything about Ken Ofori-Atta. Never. He was talking about Kwabena Duboahim. He comes to do press conferences, and then sometimes questions are asked. Now, he came and said that when the whole extradition between OSP and bring me letter and I won't bring you letter, when all of those things started, with, of course, political pressure, that Ken Ofori-Atta was a finance minister who led the country at a time that it was very difficult across the world. And it was really very difficult. Naturally, he's taking upon himself all of that blame. We will kill the finance minister. We will do this to the finance minister. Almost every finance minister gets unpopular in these kinds of situations. So, but this attorney general has been talking and he has not said much about Ken Ofori-Atta. I have personally spoken to Ken Ofori-Atta about PDS. When we talk about PDS and we describe PDS as a scandal, we describe PDS as an offense. PDS was piloted by the American thing that we do, Millennium Development MIDA. And it was a company that was to take over some of ECG's work. and the company was unable to provide a guarantee for the purpose, and the company was taken out. The company has sued in international arbitration, and the international arbitration has returned a verdict against PDS and in favor of those who made the decision to take PDS out. Yet, the propaganda against Ofori-Atta continues to mention PDS. Okay, next is National Cathedral. They mentioned National Cathedral. We have all seen what has happened with the National Cathedral. The Attorney General's recent comments on the National Cathedral is there for all to see. The OSP has preferred charges against Ken Ofori-Atta on SML, some contract that was awarded subsequent to that.
The OSP has 5 different cases that it is investigating Ofori-Atta on.
Yeah, I'm talking about the charges.
It's preferred charges only in one of the cases.
Yes, fair enough. What is
and this also began before the new government.
Yes, that's what he said. Yes, so the OSP has preferred charges on SML. That's the only thing. The Attorney General has really not said anything. That Ofori-Atta, he hasn't told us whether he is also in pursuit of the SML matter or that he is in pursuit of some other matters.
He has told me,
yes,
here on Newsfile,
yes,
that he's pursuing other matters for which there are international entities and persons who have been brought into the subject. There are offshore stuff in respect of Ofori-Atta, and he tells me and my viewers that that is going to be a bigger issue than SML.
But he doesn't mention it.
No, he doesn't say what it is.
That is out of character for Dominic Ayeni, because this is a Dominic Ayeni who hosts press conferences and devolves everything. So if he told you that there's a case that he's investigating against the political foe, the biggest political foe, Ken Ofori-Atta, but he's unable to mention and tells us that he has international, this, international, that, well, I don't know. Because this is not Dominic Ayeni's character. That will be out of character. And when people act out of character, we know what the literature people say. But coming back onto the point, so this is the Ken Ofori-Atta situation, and it has been politicized because we are in a new epoch of criminal justice system where everything is being announced. Sedina Tamakloe, which has become a matter so important that the NDC propaganda machine had to even issue a statement or publish something that Sedina Tamakloe is also being taken through the same Ofori-Atta process. As we sit here, it's not verifiable that there was any Sedina Tamakloe matter similar to the Ofori-Atta process occasioned by this government. It's not verifiable. It may well turn out that the whole Sedina Tamakloe matter was just propaganda, that nothing has happened.
The Ghana embassy in the US lied?
Well, the Ghana embassy in the US said something that you said the court didn't happen. You said the Ghana embassy said 21st. It's happening. We are here. It hasn't happened.
They told us.
You said this. The word you used was that there's been blackouts.
Yes.
Yes.
They've been blocked out from following the process.
Who has been blocked out?
That's what they told us.
You believe that? In America, the United States of America,
they have
process
access.
Is going on about
they have
extradition.
Access until I have the contrary. And I have to stick with what they say.
Well, fair enough. We have to believe public officials until we have something to the contrary. Anyway, so that is the new justice system that we have come into. The Sedina Tamakloe trial was started. She asked for permission to leave, and she left, and she didn't return, and the matter ended. His lawyer, while Sedina was away during the so-called trial in absentia, cross-examined the Attorney General's witnesses until they got to the point where the judge was able to give a ruling. And when he gave the judgment, it was against Sedina Tamakloe. And if, as a society, we are concerned about corruption, you know better than all of us that a man is innocent until proven guilty in the Anglo-Saxon common law. A man is innocent until he's proven guilty. We all know that. So between Sedina Tamakloe, who has been convicted, and Ken Ofori-Atta, whose trial is yet to start for us to know where it ends. Ofori-Atta's trial may start and he has an opportunity to end at the submission of no case. Ofori-Atta's trial may start and Ofori-Atta may be convicted. It's all a may. We don't know. But for Sedina Tamakloe, we know. These two people belong to two political parties. One person belongs to the ruling party. The other person belongs to the opposition party. When the MPP government was in power, they made very little noise about what had been happening with Sedina Tamakloe. I'm only finding out this morning that Agbesi Jakwasu was his lawyer. In Ofori-Atta's case, he's in America. The story is that someone may have snitched on him. So he's going out for a walk and he's grabbed by ISIS people because ISIS people needed a court order to enter into his premises. They didn't have that court.
You mean ICE, not ISIS?
Sorry. ICE people, they don't have a court order to enter into his premises. And then he's going on his walk, which is part of a recovery process from cancer, have been told. And people who have recovered from cancer are regularly told that they should go on walks to physically exercise. So he was going on a walk, he's grabbed by ICE and he's sent to a place. Now, let's come back to why Ofori-Atta is not coming and we are holding demonstrations and all of that. I am happy with what the US lawyer said, because it was always the truth, that the demonstrations going on may actually inure to Ofori-Atta's benefits. What's the Ofori-Atta story? He leaves Ghana. He has a letter from the chief of staff. He tells chief of staff that, Baba, I'm going away, but I'm available for anything. Chief of staff says, thank you, you can go. He obtained permission from the government of the day because Ofori-Atta was relatively important to the transition. So they all dealt with him. So he's going away and he says, I'm not here, he's gone. Then he appoints lawyers to deal with the matter. His lawyers say that, oh, he's going to hospital. Which hospital? Mayo Clinic. Mayo Clinic submit everything. Then whilst it is known where he is, he's been told that whether you are doing Mayo Clinic or not, you have to come back to Ghana on this date. His lawyers say, we'll try. The date comes, he doesn't come. They say that he's still under medical whatever. Okay. Then, in those circumstances, he's put on Interpol red alert. In subsequent circumstances, Interpol find the reason, legal, political, sociological, whatever, to take his name off their red alert. He created news in Ghana. Why did Interpol find the reason to take his name off the red alert? Because in assessing the situation, you don't put somebody that you know where he is on red alert. So these circumstances then began to change a little bit.
The story, the alternative, is that Interpol did not take his name down.
What happened?
They did a reduction. Because he had made an application.
What is reduction?
Reduction is that he can only be seen by, it's limited. Viewing is limited. What certain people?
Viewing him. So Paul, what we are told is it's like a typical injunction application that you take to a court. Then a court said, oh, because I've seen this application, can we all hold on until I finish? So that doesn't mean that
his name is taken off.
Has that finished? Has that process finished? The process you address.
Well, now it looks like
it's like a
other issues have
it's like a
But what it means is that Interpol thought that there's a case to look at for Ofori-Atta.
Which is a fair process.
Fair enough. So now when these things come up like that, the guy says, I'm coming. You're not coming. Oh, you're on red alert. Oh, charges have been preferred against you. And then all of these things are going on. It may constitute a way in which Ofori-Atta and his advisors may feel that, are we really safe in going back into this jurisdiction, given all what is happening?
When you are told that all the time when you were being told that, oh, I'll come, he had started a process to become a citizen of that country so he doesn't come.
Yes, that is concern.
You still believe that he actually wanted to return?
Yeah, but you see, Ofori-Atta doesn't have the power to decide that I won't come to Ghana. There are legal processes that can compel him to come to Ghana. He cannot decide.
Those processes are ongoing. Why are we worried about them?
Exactly.
Yeah, but nobody's worried. Those processes must go on. But the politicization of it, with a press conference and demonstrations and holding on to Ofori-Atta as if he's the one to provide the 21 billion that oral promised, out of which after 1 year we have gotten zero. Today the Attorney General says that Sami Okujeto and Blackwell's 21 billion may not have been 21 billion. That's what the Attorney General is telling us. This is a society and a government that comes into office running on the back of corruption, which has been the same case for many opposition parties in the Fourth Republic. They run on corruption, but this group of people wanted to demonstrate their commitment to anti-corruption, which was great.
If I told you I've been speaking for 16 minutes.
I'm sorry.
Or 17 so far, will you believe me?
I don't believe you, but I'm wrapping up because
it was heckled. He was not heckled. No, he was not heckled.
Give me 2 minutes to wrap up.
Yeah, go ahead. That's not heckling.
This is a way to take our attention from the commitment that was made for the $21 billion, not cedis, $21 billion. If Ghana has lost $21 billion to corruption, we are in serious trouble and we need a full commitment to anti-corruption to retrieve this. How much of the 21 billion is Ofori-Atta? And where is the rest of the 21 billion after 1 year for an Attorney General who holds press conferences that we are all, the legal society, the political society, is discussing whether this is the way to go?
The 21 billion, the OSP alone has 5 cases that it is looking for Ofori-Atta to answer. Yes,
no, oral, I'm talking about oral and it's 21 billion.
All right. Oh, okay. Yes.
Oral's 21, but it's something you know about.
Some of those cases, some of the oral cases, there are cases the OSP is doing already.
Like which one?
Listening to
National Cathedral.
National Cathedral, Attorney General is saying something else.
Listening to Paul Adumochiri, I'm convinced that if Ken is sitting in his ICE detention and watching this program, he ought to come back.
He ought to what?
To come back.
Ken?
Yes.
He doesn't have that option now, or self-deport.
Self-deport.
As that he wants to. Okay.
Because Paul Adumochiri underwent similar invitation like Ken Ofori-Atta in a matter similar to the SML.
No, they are not the same.
They are similar. I don't say they are the same. I don't say they are the same.
He supervised the public pen. Paul didn't do that.
No, in the matter that Ken Ofori-Atta is being wanted by the OSP, they are similar. Pari passu, similar. But you see, Ken is on national TV.
Doing good morning, good evening, Ghana.
You mean Paul?
Adumochiri.
Yes. Okay, you said Ken.
No, I said if Ken is watching,
no,
right
back. Now you said Ken is on national TV.
No. Ken, Paul.
I understand. It's because it's 1 week to the MPP Congress. Yes. Maybe you are mixed.
No, it should come. It means that if you are subject to investigation by the OSP, you still can have the liberties guaranteed you under the Constitution of the Republic.
Yes, that is guaranteed under the Constitution of the Republic.
That's what is guaranteed.
Yes.
That's what it simply is.
Guaranteed.
But what has been done to you? Why can't that same
thing done to Ken?
You are here now.
The same actors involved, but you are.
I didn't write a letter to the chief of staff that I was traveling.
So let me.
Ken did.
Let me clear the processes are not the same.
Let me clear the confusion.
You are still before an investigation committee.
Let me clear the confusion.
Okay, now you are over heckling.
Let me clear
the confusion.
I don't have, by the grace of God. I didn't write to chief of staff.
Agree.
Allowed, but please, can you allow him? The last time too, you didn't allow.
That's the first.
Because it's the senior most, so we have.
That's the first thing. The first thing is simply that.
No, please state the point.
Those who are equally circumstanced and enjoying benefits under the Constitution must invite others who are also circumstanced that the Constitution will protect them. That's the first thing. The second thing is, I hear a refrain. The man was sick. He wrote a letter, chief of staff. The man, by his own hand, wrote a letter to the then chief of staff, Cecilia. What's his name? He
wrote to the transition.
Please.
Committee.
No, I'm not asking for information.
No, I'm not asking for information. Incoming.
Honorable Tampule, I'm not asking for information from you.
Wrote to the chief of staff
and copied.
I'm not asking for information from you.
Sure.
But I'm not asking for information from you.
I'm assisting you.
Please, don't assist.
We are dealing with the public.
I'm capable of
dealing with the public.
I'm capable of fighting my own fight.
Unless
I'm strong enough.
There's evidence to show for it.
I'm strong enough.
You know, he's my senior brother.
I'm strong enough.
So
respect you.
Thank you.
So let me help my senior brother.
So he wrote to the chief of staff on the 4th day of January 2025, copying the incoming chief of staff, Julius Debra, indicating that he was asking for permission to leave this country and return on the 28th of January. Specifically. And that he was going to attend to his health. So on health compassionate grounds, the chief of staff permitted him to travel. The OSP did not invite Ken Ofori-Atta to appear before them until the time that he had asked for was about expiring. The OSP wrote to the to the Ken Ofori-Atta to appear before them on the 24th of January, to appear before them in February, based on the permission he had sought. Now, so that should be clear to all of us. He left this jurisdiction given a promise to the state that he will come back on a certain day. The OSP wrote his letters based on his own promise. When was the day he was invited to appear? 10th of February 2025. That would have meant Ken Ofori-Atta, by his own undertaking, would have been in this country. That's the first thing. Now, the second thing is that before June, the expiration of his stay in the visa in the United States, Ken Ofori-Atta had applied in May to change his status from a visitor to a permanent resident, perpetually depriving the investigative authorities from reaching him, trying to put himself out of reach. You must also understand the facts. 3, Bonfair, the trial is ongoing.
So what's the problem now?
So let me tell you what is the problem, because I see that you don't understand the criminal process. The trial is ongoing. He's been charged with about 78 charges. He's been tried with, alongside
8 others.
8 others, 2 of whom, Ernest Akori and Ken Ofori-Atta, are not available. So because the charges have been read, he ought to plead to those charges. He ought to be served. So the court has directed that the processes going on in court be served on Ken Ofori-Atta. If the processes are served on Ken Ofori-Atta and he fails, refuses, or neglects to attend court, he would be a fugitive from the court.
It will be a bench warrant.
It will be a bench warrant.
Is there substituted service?
It's not a substituted service. It's not a criminal case. It's not a civil case. It's a criminal case. So if it is served on him and he fails to appear, the court itself will issue a bench warrant. Mind you, he's outside the jurisdiction. The bench warrant is limited to the territorial jurisdiction of this country. So it must go through the foreign processes, Minister of Foreign Affairs. Just like the order to serve the summons on him have to go through the diplomatic channels. Now, when that order is made, if he fails to appear and that order is made, he will be arrested and imprisoned in America for the purposes of being sent back. Okay? And if he's not arrested at all, or he's incapable of coming, because there would have been evidence of service of the criminal summons on him, the court is now enjoined to proceed with that.
On the fundamental principle of the law, that a man must not be condemned unheard. So you give them the opportunity to be heard. Let them elect to refuse to be heard.
So you have not. You can't say that because
trial and say it's trial essential.
You're contradicting yourself.
When I
said the trial has started, you just said it on there.
It has started because
the trial has started. You see, listen.
No, Bonfair, don't
listen. No, I want to clear your misunderstanding of the law.
Let's help our audience to understand.
I want to clear your misunderstanding of the law.
He's not the only accused person.
It is not the only accused person. He's not the only accused person in court. Neither is Ernest Akori the only accused person in court. So the trial has started in respect of the accused persons, all of them. But because the 2 of them are not in court, the trial cannot proceed unless the court is satisfied that there have been conscious, deliberate attempts to serve the sermons on him, and that the sermons have actually been served on him, but he has refused to come. Then the trial will continue now in absentia.
It is the reason when you are served, the law allows for certain days to expire. Then the law will construe that you don't want to come in.
Something you see.
He said something markedly different.
Please.
Completely different.
Let's stop misrepresenting ourselves. Let's stop misrepresenting ourselves.
When I finish, you can rebut.
Okay.
So don't attribute to me things I haven't said.
So the thing is that you are not. What's the name? You're not speaking to yourself.
Yes.
You are speaking to us.
Yes.
And when you speak, we listen to you.
Yes.
So let's tell us what you have told us.
What you have interpreted from what I said.
No, I've not.
You need to also understand that. So you also listen to me with your interpretive lenses. And it is possible that is the thing. You may have misinterpreted what I said.
So the thing is that. So can we trust Ken Ofori-Atta to come back on his own? I don't think we can trust him, because one, he gave an undertaking to come to this country by himself. A man of the stature of Ken Ofori-Atta ought to have respected his own undertaking. And at that time he gave the undertaking, he was not under any pressure from any quarters.
His health status may have changed the date he decided that he will come back.
He went to court only once. Since he left this country, only once. And I can give you his flight record. He was traveling. So it should not be the case that a person will give an undertaking and then violate his undertaking and cry the victim. That's what Ken Ofori-Atta is doing. He's crying the victim. And his lawyers are crying the victim. Now, why do we come to all this? And it is not true, it's patently not true, as and you know, my brother Tampule, that when we served in office as minister, when you left office, the investigative authorities probably would not have understood certain decisions that you took. Or when you were MPA boss, the investigative authorities would not have understood certain decisions that you took. They invite you to come and help them. I appeared numerous times before the investigative authorities. Numerous times. It is patently false to say that Ken Ofori-Atta was the one who provided cover for Setekpe not to be prosecuted. Patently false. I know as a matter of fact that Setekpe appeared before numerous investigative bodies. Numerous. And was able to explain himself. And I also know that Ken Ofori-Atta, and that, you see, those who executioners fear the gallows. Ken Ofori-Atta, when he was the finance minister, and his wife who spoke on your air on your network, I exercised in the same gym with them at Air Force. Yeah. And I can tell you on authority that the wife of Ken Ofori-Atta picked a fight with Gloria Akufu because the wife of Ken Ofori-Atta felt that Gloria Akufu was not prosecuting NDC former appointees. I was in the gym.
This information.
Where from this?
No.
I was in the gym.
No.
You cannot mention somebody's name. Attribute something to her. The person is not here. You really have to withdraw that.
No, I won't withdraw that.
I won't withdraw that.
This is completely wrong.
You are referring to an lady who is not on the show.
I won't withdraw that.
And you didn't say she told me.
No.
Can I do my work? Can I do my work?
No, but how can you?
Can I do my work?
Let's
you come to a juice. I exercise with her.
So there's no way of verifying this information.
How can you verify this information
to the host? I mean, seriously.
You know what it is. Why are you referring to the host?
Let the host.
We don't have to give the host too much trouble. The host, we don't want to give him trouble.
No, let me do my job.
Sometimes you have to self-regulate.
All right.
Without the host necessarily coming.
But he really has to.
You see how quick you are. You see how quick you are to question him even before he lands.
No.
Because the person is not here.
The person is not here.
Because I want him to finish the statement before I ask him the next question.
Okay, please proceed.
If he's not done, I don't know what he wants to say.
He's under the mistaken impression.
He should withdraw.
Paul Atumachile is under the mistaken impression that this platform is...
Good evening, guys.
I'm sorry about that. If that's the impression I'm giving, I'm really sorry.
Of course.
I'm really sorry about that.
And you want to respect your panel.
I'm really sorry about that.
Instead of saying it, don't you agree with me that it's unfair that the person is not here present
is now laughing
to answer for herself? And you are now talking about a conversation that you must have.
He didn't refer to a conversation.
Yeah, he said he was in the gym.
He said they are in the gym together. He didn't refer.
No, he said there was a conversation. So
that he eavesdropped.
So will you?
I didn't eavesdrop.
No. Will you? Who else? Who else witness what you're talking about?
Well, I've mentioned parties. I've mentioned the woman. I've mentioned Gloria Akufu.
Right.
And I was in the gym, and the gym is a public place. There are many other parties I could mention, but I've just given you two names.
And they had an argument.
So I've just given you two names. So if you don't want to reach out to the woman, and I know her personally, you can reach out to Gloria Akufu. That might explain to you, if you don't understand what you don't know, that I know. That Gloria Akufu was finally removed from office.
Because
of her failure, because of the perception that she failed to prosecute people who were former appointees of the NDC.
In accordance with the desires of the Ofori-Atta and the wife.
Of the Ofori-Attas.
And this was the conversation at the gym.
This was a conversation I chanced upon in the gym, at Air Force Gym. I've also given you the name of the gym. Well,
okay.
It cannot make it. You see.
Senior,
are you not confounded? Are you not confounded? I'm not confounded.
Yeah, you're a very senior member.
No.
I'm not confounded. No, you're a senior member of the Ghana Bar Association. You can't make allegations on a serious program like this.
Are you not going on this one?
And you're smiling.
Are you not confounded?
Your smile is beautiful.
Are you not even here? Are you not confounded?
You're a senior member of the Ghana Bar. You're a senior member of the Ghana Bar. You can't do that.
The gravity of the revelation.
So this is what I'm saying.
It's not right.
This revelation, you are not a state official.
No.
Okay. Yeah. So it takes a different turn. In the absence of these two individuals you mentioned, and now you even go further to say this is why Gloria Akuffo lost her job as Attorney General.
This is one of the reasons, yeah.
Okay. Don't you think it's unfair because of their absence?
She didn't lose her job.
For which reason
she served her
you
4
should
years.
withdraw the statement?
No, I'm not. If they think that I'm not speaking the truth, they can take me on. If they really think that I'm not speaking the truth, I'm putting my reputation on the line. You know, I don't speak lightly on matters of this nature. I don't speak lightly.
What does it mean?
I've got a reputation to protect. I've got an integrity I'm protecting.
And I'm saying that it is the fairness of the process that we're talking about. It has nothing to do with the truth or otherwise.
So
we're saying that
I have offered him the opportunity. I've offered him the opportunity.
They're not here to defend
I'll follow up and return to inform my audience what the named individuals think about what you say.
Gloria Akuffo,
check.
If you can call Gloria Akuffo, then she can speak.
My production is listening.
And also, Gloria didn't lose any job.
She was not fired.
Which job did she lose?
She served her tenure for 4 years. She left.
Thank you.
The next government didn't get an appointment. That's
same as Joe Gatti.
Yes.
All right.
Not like firing her. She didn't lose her job.
Okay, thank you. She didn't lose her job. She didn't leave the Attorney General's office happily. Thank you.
She left. She concluded her tenure.
She didn't leave there happily.
And
I'm a journalist.
The time she was leaving.
I have the opportunity to talk to someone.
She didn't leave there happy. Who were not appointed. We're not happy. It's not only her.
Happiness if you're Let's have a different discussion. My producers will check if they can speak to any one of them. But subsequently, I'll do that and get back. I'm saying, I wanted to bring this to your attention. Will someone like Ken, yes, maybe he started to change his status, and therefore you use that to say a presumption that he definitely didn't want to come back.
He was putting himself beyond the reach of the authorities.
But when they say that they fear unfair treatment, or he fears unfair treatment among others, we are waking up this morning to reports that suggest that someone like Mustafa Hamid, he's standing trial. Declarations that he has made to the OSP about his assets have been made public. This is not fair to him. That, the publication is there. It's out there in the public about the property, some property that somebody gave to him, and it's out there in the public. Is that fair to him?
So again,
that he cannot justify, how he came by the property.
So when I also read the story, I don't speak lightly on matters of this nature. I always invest time and effort in trying to understand what is happening. My understanding of what is happening in terms of Mustafa Hamid is that when he took public office, he made a declaration of his properties. And so because of the matters that are ongoing in court and the challenges to the jurisdiction of the special prosecutor, the special prosecutor took interest in collecting better and further evidence of his properties and came across one property. So applied to the Auditor General's office and got the sealed declarations that he made and opened and sealed the envelope and saw that the certain properties that have come to their attention are not part of the
declaration of assets.
Is it not rather that he gave the information to them that this property was given to me by X?
No.
And for
let me
this
tell you the chronology. I'm telling you
for having worked for 10 years for this person, he gave me this property, as my reward.
No, it was not part of the declaration, but they got the property to be his, on the presumption that property is his.
Okay.
Then they questioned him. This property is not part of the list of properties that you have announced or filed with the Auditor General. And then his answer is that property was given to him by the former president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. The next question I asked myself, so if that property is, a gift is a gift. It's constituted by offer and acceptance. So if it is a gift, someone must gift you the property and you must accept it. Now, even in land law, where the property is given to you without an effective change of ownership, the title deeds of that property will be with you. So, has it
I was asking the question of fairness in the process. Kabila had raised that issue. Tampuli raised that issue. Poladmochi raised that issue. Fairness in the process.
Yes, so I'm just using that example of fairness. So, what is fairness?
Because now the public is prejudiced against him, that he got property through wrongful means. He can't justify how he came by the property. But as we understand, he indicated that I got that property as a gift for having served someone for 10 good years. And that was my reward. This was long ago, even before he became whoever in which office.
And what is the fairness you're talking about? The fact that
in disclosing the matter was
public. That's a matter that you have to ask the special prosecutor. That's a discretion. That's an exercise of a discretion. Okay? Whether that discretion, whether it has been exercised properly or not, is a matter for the special prosecutor to explain. But for me, for the purposes of transparency and accountability, if the special prosecutor puts that into the public domain, I see absolutely nothing wrong with that. Because he was given an opportunity to explain the ownership of that property. And his explanation is what they have put.
I'm told by one of the lawyers to him right now, that no one has asked Mustafa Hamid any question about the sealed declaration. He disclosed that property himself.
Oh, but I've not said anything different.
That's what he's.
But no, I'm not saying anything different. I'm not. Where's the unfairness in it? Where's the unfairness? But nobody has.
I don't know how Mustafa Hamid became part of the discussion.
He brought it in.
Honestly,
he brought it in.
No, you are talking Ofori-Atta, and we are.
I'm not saying it. He brought it in.
Paul is talking about the fears which they are telling the American authorities that it's a persecution, and all of these unfairness. So remember that the national security, or who was it, had gone to his home and were told about how things were ransacked and how they were put under fear. We are told that all these are part of the bundle of issues they are putting before the U.S. court to say that the person is not safe.
National security went to Ofori-Atta's home when?
Oh, you don't remember?
No, that became public.
Yeah, when?
Much earlier.
Yes, but after the invitation of the special prosecutor to appear before him.
The special prosecutor knew nothing about that.
So what? Let's.
Sorry, I have a text. Can I read it? It relates to the. It's from Godfrey Dame. If you want, I can forward it to you so you read it. Is that okay?
Go ahead.
Okay, it says that Inu Safuseni ought to be checked and corrected. Gloria Ekufu, which is his boss, in fact, started 90% of the supposed political prosecutions. Opuni, Dufour, NCA, and many others. It couldn't have been that someone may have felt that Gloria is not prosecuting NDC people because she did 90% of it.
You couldn't have.
That's the record.
In the same vein, Kwame says, I can confirm that a close friend of mine who was in the gym told me this 4 years ago. The conversation led to rifts at the Air Force Base gym, even with MPP members of the then government who were gym members. This is, okay, I'm sorry, I read the beginning before I got to the end. It was supposed to be a private conversation.
Yeah.
So,
he's saying it was supposed to be a private committee. No, the one
peddling of gossip.
Okay, so
we are peddling gossip.
But we don't know him. We don't know where he's standing and all that.
All right,
trying to support him.
This one I take a break. This one I take a break.
Please, we need a break.
You have a minute.
We need a break. We need a break.
The is on. We are peddling gossip.
No, you need a break now because we want to fight.
No. Yes.
I have said I have great sympathy for Ken Ofori-Atta. And my sympathy for him is simply the fact that a person who has served his country in ways that not everybody out of the 30-something million Ghanaians can do and can reach must not be subjected to this level of dehumanization outside this country. I think, and when I saw him with ISIS officials escorting him into a vehicle with his hands handcuffed behind him, I thought that this person who had reached the high echelons of governmental authority in this country should not be treated that way. I feel sad for him, not because he's wanted by the special prosecutor. I feel sad for him because as a human being, I don't think that spectacle should befall anybody. That a person of his caliber, whose name can then be substituted for a number. I feel sad.
Trump was handcuffed.
I feel sad. That's just for me.
Is it?
And I wept when he was finance minister. I was in parliament.
But senior, is it any less than some of the things that you have said of him on this set?
Okay, so since you are done now,
what is it?
You have butchered him more than what I have done.
You see, the problem about this, and
what have I said on this? What have I said on this?
Peddled rumors about his wife.
Someone just said that to confirm it. I was in the gym. Something. I was in the gym.
I'm coming. I like the way he smiles. I like the way he smiles when he's saying these things. You smile very nicely when you're saying these things.
Regardless of who you are, every little criminal case, you are handcuffed. I promise my conversation that
former president
and now current president, I won't let this matter get here. I premise my conversation. So for anybody to get the impression you are sitting here defending, how am I defending him?
Nobody has.
Okay,
have I said?
Yeah?
We're back.
You're welcome back. This is Newsfile. It's your most authoritative news analysis platform, and here on Newsfile, we put Ghana first. There's no issue of fairness in the disclosure matter. Publication and verification of assets declared is backed by ANCAC Article 8 and 52. Ghana is a state party to ANCAC, so the questioning of fairness does not arise at all. The limitation in the Ghanaian framework of asset and liability declaration in Article 286 and others is what the Conduct of Public Officers Bill seeks to cure. And this is coming from someone in the anti-corruption front, CSO. I asked that question, whether it was fair that this was being done to Mustafa, and he has come with an answer that there's no question of fairness at all. It is okay. Gamel says that I'm confused about Honorable Idrisu. Ghanaians are hypocritical on every issue about the state. I think because in Ghana laws are not respected and allowed to work, so it's better Ken is taking through the system in the US than bringing him here. All these politicians in your studio know how to get Ken back home to face the law. They would have pressed the knob. If it's a poor person, look, there would be the same situation when the NDC leaves power. Okay, you are saying a lot of things. I'm trying to appreciate. Kwabna Atta says that those people under whose names are not roped into the web, how did they acquire it? What work did they do? What is their income? how much taxes did they pay? Okay, plenty wahala for them. If Hamid indeed listed only ABC as assets in his declaration, and an investigation proves that he has XYZ unlisted of hidden under other names, then it opens a whole can of criminal webs. Concealment, misinformation of a public officer, etc. Privacy cannot save him if they are true. So, Samson, public office is what it is, public. No one is going to compel me to list and declare all my assets as I remain seated in my bedroom. But as soon as I decide to vie for public office, my entire life will be put under scrutiny. Nothing remains private. Okay, so as I understand, let's quickly get this. Mustafa Hamid, one of his lawyers, joins us. Is that Akbar?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Senior.
Right. What would you like to clarify? What's the intervention for which you're calling us?
We listened to the submission of my uncle, Honorable Inusafuseni, and, the submission is founded on misinformation. And he can be pardoned because that has been the pattern of the OSP as far as this matter is concerned, to come to the public to misrepresent facts and to set up our client for attacks by the Ghanaian people. And so it is on the basis of that misinformation that the Honorable Inusafuseni founded his submission, and it is important to correct that. First of all, it is not true that the property in question was not declared by Dr. Mustafa Abdul Hamid to the Auditor General. It is a complete falsehood. It is also important to add that Mustafa Hamid held 2 public offices in the last 8 years. First, as Minister of Information, and second, as Chief Executive of the NPA. In these 2 public offices, he made declarations of his assets to the Auditor General. So what we should be asking the OSP is, which particular declaration did they unseal? Because dates are very, very important in any diligent work as far as legal matters are concerned. So, for instance, if you go and you unseal the 2017 declaration, you will not find this particular asset because that asset was acquired in 2018 and occupied in 2019. All right? But if you go and you unseal the declaration to the Auditor General in 2021, before he assumed office as the Chief Executive Officer of the National Petroleum Authority, you will find this property declared to the Auditor General. So it is important that in any analysis, we ask the Office of the Special Prosecutor, which of the declaration forms did you unseal? Okay? It is also important.
Is it not normally the current declaration? And if you are declared earlier and you have to declare again, you declare with the new list of properties you have, and the old will be in there.
And that is why it is important to ask them.
Okay, so you are thinking that they would have made a mistake and gone for the past declaration rather than the current.
Exactly, because if you go for the 2021 declaration with the Auditor General, the property is there. And it would not be in the 2017 declaration because the property was acquired in 2018. And he has been in occupation since 2019.
All right.
All right. In any case, Samson, why should a prosecutor, all right, prosecuting crimes he said were committed in 2022 and 2024, be seeking to list a property acquired in 2018 as a proceed of a crime committed between 2022 and 2024?
No, I thought they were saying that. I thought they were saying that like it happens in every normal investigation. If I'm investigating A and B pops up, I need to follow it.
No, they're not investigating anything. In any case, just this last Tuesday, they wrote a letter to Dr. Mustafa Hamid to appear before them, speak to properties they have identified in respect of offenses for which he has been formally charged.
Oh, really?
So, absolutely. In fact, on Thursday, we read this letter in open court, and the judge had to rebuke the OSP for engaging in unlawful conduct.
The judge said what about the OSP again?
She had to rebut them.
We are told that the publication out there is unfounded, and that the judge denies that she had to say anything untoward about the OSP.
The person who is denying it has never been to court since the case started in July 2023. In 2025, he has never been to court. What is factual is that these particular conversations were off record.
Okay, all right.
Fact, and you can cross-check from the Deputy Attorney General. He was in court.
Okay.
Indeed, he was invited by the judge to comment on this conduct, and the Deputy Attorney General was clear that it is on unlawful conduct by the OSP to continue to investigate matters which are properly before a court. Because if you don't complete your investigation, you don't go to court.
Akbar, thank you. This is not a subject for discussion, but because it came up and I got your contact, we decided we should call you so that you say what you needed to say. Thank you very much. But hold on. I understand that Samida Ako, Director of Research and Communications at the OSP, joins us. Sami, what do you have to say in response?
Just a quick clarification, and I'm very happy that he has finally confirmed the false news that they made a lawyer blogger, to put out that a judge had ordered OSP not to do some particular things, investigate or, as it were, detain people. But this is the truth. The OSP has been doing what we call parallel financial investigation into Mustafa Hamid's assets, as well as what he has been charged with. Now, there is no law in Ghana that bars a law enforcement agency from doing that. And so you can be charged for extortion and money laundering. And you can also be investigated for another thing arising out of the same case. And that is what the OSP has been doing. So formally, the OSP has unsealed Mustafa Hamid's assets since he has been in public office. So it's not that OSP unsealed maybe one. We unsealed all his assets that he had declared when he became a public officer. Then the OSP itself also has an property and declaration regime where you fill properties that you have. And if you don't, it's a criminal offense. So we have compared the two, and we came to a realization that he has not declared a number of properties. And something you might have said that the OSP put out his asset that we unsealed. No, we have never put out any asset he has unsealed. What we have said is that the matter for which he went to court and after the adjournment complained to the judge that the OSP is harassing him is not harassment, but rather an investigation by the OSP into his assets. And that itself is a different regime, because the OSP law says that when you fail or neglect or deliberately do not tell us the assets that you have, but OSP is reasonably, through investigation, is able to identify them, then it will be subject to forfeiture. So what the OSP is about to do is a forfeiture of the assets that we have uncovered. And we ask him to come and speak to the assets. And that will not amount to harassment, because it's not one property.
I'm told he has not been asked to come speak to the. Okay, one lawyer said that, and then Akbar confirms that actually he was invited on the ongoing investigation and not a new one.
No, they get it wrong, because the asset investigation is what they have invited him on, because the asset was a parallel investigation to the case that is in court. So he was supposed to appear before us yesterday, and he did not. The reason why he's supposed to appear is that we have already spoken to his wife and children about properties that have been put in their names and whether they acquired it or how did they acquire it. And out of that is where the OSP said that there's this one property he declared to us in his property and income to the OSP. And he said it was a gift by the former president, Nana Akufo-Addo. And we had asked him that if it's a gift, then show us the property covering it. But it doesn't mean that if he declines to do that,
you mean show us documents covering it, not property covering it, right?
There's no he didn't show us any property covering what
document, not property.
Sorry, that's what I meant to say. He did not show any document covering it. Yeah. But if you say it's just a gift from, say, a former president to you, that is really not the case of the OSP. The OSP wants to find out whether what you have said is true or not.
Yeah, but the lawyer is saying that there is a declaration in which this property can be found, and you got the wrong one.
And I'm saying that the OSP has gone through all that he has declared. But even this property, he declared it to the OSP. Samson, please listen to me. I said that the OSP has the power to compel you to declare your property and income. And when he was filling the property and income, he did declare that house to us. And what the OSP is interested in is that if it's a gift to you, show us the documents covering it, so that the OSP is very clear in his mind that this was properly a proper document.
But it is the accused person's choice or the suspect's choice to show you the document or not to show you. It's their right.
That's why I've said that if he refuses to do that, it doesn't mean it terminates anything. They think that by saying it's a gift from the former president, it ends it. And we are saying that it doesn't end it. But I'm saying that that property is not the only property in respect of which OSP
but what led to this part of his property matter being put in the public domain?
What led to is very simple. He and his lawyers, plus the bloggers that he has, have always been fighting the OSP after court and putting out misinformation. So they have put out the misinformation that the OSP is harassing him in respect of this investigation. And the OSP had to clarify that it is not harassment. It is an investigation in assets he has acquired, which the OSP expects.
Okay, we've run out of time, but Agba, having heard Sami, what do you have to say, briefly?
So, Sami is not being truthful. When we complain about harassment, it is not because of the invitation. We appeared before the OSP to report in accordance with our bail conditions on Tuesday, and I accompanied him there. When we got there, they kept us for 2 hours, appeared suddenly with investigators, set up recorded, and I confronted them. I said, what are you going to do? And they said they are going to investigate him, and I raised an objection. And I said, you cannot abuse a court order to conduct an investigation. If you want to investigate him, write formally to him so that we will confer with him and appear. It is that.
What happened to Agba's line? Okay. Thank you, gentlemen. This fight your matters in the courtroom. Finish them, and then let's come and talk about them as far as the matters that happen in the court are concerned. Thank you very much. Gentlemen, it looks like our time is run out, but